Hello, artists. Today we're going to create these fun wavy underwater pictures using line, shape, color, and value. Value is when a color goes from light to dark or dark to light. And we're going to be practicing that with our underwater pictures. Here's an example for you. This is an otter. You'll be choosing an underwater creature, a creature that either lives all the time underwater or a good deal of the time underwater. So this is an otter, and as you can see, some of the color goes from light to dark or dark to light in the water and on the animal. And if you've ever stepped into moving water, even a swimming pool, you notice that the water ripples. And as it ripples, it creates different colors and textures. And that's what we're going to try to recreate here with our pictures. So here's an otter for you. And these are two jellyfish. You can see it looks a little different, but the water is the same. The colors are a little brighter because these are neon jellyfish, and so they tend to look brighter. You can choose to make your animal the color that it is. You can choose a fantasy color also. If you want to make a pink whale, I'm fine with that. Make sure though that you are using the value scale when you go to color it. So I'm going to show you basically how to do this really quickly so that you can research your own animal and then get to it. So I have chosen for this next picture to create an octopus. And this is a picture of an octopus that I got from online. And it has a lot of value in it. You can see it goes from dark to light very easily. And even in the water, there's a lot of dark to light value in the water. So the first thing you want to do is to look at the shapes of your animal and then create it in pencil. Now, I created this in Sharpie marker first so that you could see it. If I do it in pencil, it's really hard to see. So basically what I did was I looked at the outside and inside contour lines of my octopus. So the outside contour lines are basically the outline of my octopus, the arms and the body. And then the inside contour lines are these lines that you see on the inside of the octopus. You don't have to do a whole lot of detail. This is more about color this time instead of detail. So my octopus has a lot of suckers on its leg. I just left those out because it's more important today that we work with value. So once you get your octopus down or your sea creature down, you're going to color it with a thin Sharpie marker. If you don't have a thin Sharpie, you can use a thick Sharpie, or you can use a regular black Crayola type water-based marker, and you can even use a black colored pencil. So any of those things will work for the next step. So for this one, I went over my pencil lines with my Sharpie marker, and then I erased my pencil lines. The next step is to make the wavy lines for the water. And you want to turn your paper sideways or your sketchbook sideways and take your Sharpie marker, and you're going to start just making random wavy lines that intersect each other. So up at the top here, I make my first line. I'm just going to make it very wavy. It can go off the page as well. My next line, I want to start crossed over that line. And you'll notice that as I do this, I also cross over my sea creature. So here I go again. I'm making my lines and I'm having them cross over each other. And I'm going to do this all the way down the page. It's a little tricky because you don't want to make your lines too close together because then you'll have too many areas to fill in. It'll take forever. However, unless that's something you really want to do, that would be fine too. You also don't want to make them too big because then you don't have enough areas to fill in. So all the way down the page. All right, so now I'm down here at the bottom. So I've made all of my wavy lines for this picture. So what's going to happen is as I color in my sea creature, I'm going to choose, I personally like to color my creature first. That way I know the difference between my creature and my ocean. So I'm going to do that, and I have done that almost all the way through for you so that you can see what that would look like before you do the water. And as you notice, you can still see, even though I'm coloring it in similar colors to my picture of the octopus. The picture of my octopus is kind of oranges and blacks and a little bit of pinks. And I chose to use reds and pinks. I use these colors and my black. So these are the colors I use for my octopus. So as I said, it doesn't have to be exactly like the colors of your animal, especially if you have an animal like a dolphin that's just gray. You may go, how about yellow or blue? No, blue wouldn't be good because of the ocean. You want to make your animal a different color than the ocean. So at any rate, here we go. I left one of these arms empty so you can see how I choose to color that. So I'm going to start up at the top, and this section right here is the only section that I'm going to color, the one I just outlined. So the first thing I want to do is very lightly color the entire section in, and you should be able to see that now. And then I'm going to create value by starting at one end, and it really doesn't matter which end you want to start at, but I'm going to start at this end because this is a shadow underneath the head of my octopus, and I'm going to make that darker by pressing harder with my colored pencil and then letting up a little bit so I have a middle tone kind of value, and then at last I have a light color. So dark to medium to light. Then I'm going to use a different color. So this is the next section that I'm going to do. I'm going to outline this section, which is a longer section. It goes all the way to the end of the octopus leg. And this I'm going to do in red. So I'm going to once again color that entire section very lightly with the red. And when I have a long section like this, sometimes I like to create a darker value at each end because it gives it a little more definition. So I'm going to start at this end and I'm going to make it darker and then make it a little bit lighter in the middle. And then at the end here of this tentacle, I am going to make it darker and then let it turn lighter. I have two more areas on my tentacle. This area right here, I'm just going to go ahead and go from dark to light here because it's very small. So I did that in magenta. And then I have a tiny little spot right here. That one is hard to put value in, so don't worry about that. And then this one, I'm going to go from dark to light. So that's my octopus. It's complete. Now I need to do my ocean. There are lots in your colored pencils. There are lots of choices for ocean. I'm going to show you all the choices that I found: greens, blues, and purple. So any of these colors, any or all of these colors will be great colors for your ocean. And basically what I'm going to do is just choose one color at a time. So right now I'm going to be using this turquoise color, and I'm just going to be filling in certain sections of the water. And basically I like to choose one color and do several sections. So I may do 5 or 6 sections just using this turquoise. So I colored it in lightly first, and now I'm going to create value by pressing harder with my colored pencil, going to a middle kind of tone here, and then letting it be lighter. So here, and then going to light. So dark, middle, light. I'm going to skip over and make this section turquoise. Same thing, I want to color the entire section in lightly with my colored pencil, and then I want to choose uh, which end I want to start with my value. And I'm going to start with my dark value here, close to the octopus, and then go a little lighter, and then lightest. You're going to find sometimes with some colored pencils that the value is a little stronger. The difference between the dark and the light is a little stronger. The turquoise is a little light, but that's okay. You can still see that. I'm going to skip over to here and do this section once more, lightly first, and then really dig in, make it darker and medium. And then for my last section, I think I'll do this one. And I'm choosing these randomly. I am not making any kind of executive decisions here. I'm just like going, oh, I think, this one will look good. And I'm going to start dark here, go medium, and then go light. So this is just my turquoise. Um, I'm going to do another section. This section will be green this time. I think I'll start here next to my octopus. Now I have to be careful because I don't want to get the green on my octopus, but the octopus does divide this section up. So it starts here, it goes around my octopus tentacle, and then it goes to here. So that's basically the section. This little section right here and this little section right there are totally different sections. So I don't want to color those in green. I'll use a different color for those. So light to dark first. I should say all over light. And then I can go darker, really dig in with your pencil. And then go to medium. And then to light. So dark to medium to light, and you can see those two little sections are still there. I'm going to skip over, do this one. Dark, medium to light. And I'll probably do this one right here. So this is also next to my octopus, so I want to be careful. And then I'll go dark, medium, and then light. Okay, so I want to show you these tiny little sections. Here's another really small section, so I'm just going to fill that in so that you can see it, because the small sections are a little tricky. You really have to pay attention to make sure you're not coloring them in along with the bigger section. So here's one. I'm going to use this really nice kind of periwinkle blue, and I just fill that in. It's really hard to do value there. You can, but you have to really, really do a small bit of value there. And then I'll do it over here so you can actually see what the color is. And I'm going dark, medium, light. And then I want to show you that section one more time. So I'm going to choose a different color. This is a aqua greenish blue, and I'm going to add that in there. And I'll add it right here too, so that you can see where those little tiny sections are. So as you make your lines on your picture like this, you're going to find after you do your animal that there are plenty of those tiny little areas like this one right here and this one right here that you're going to need to pay very close attention to in order to make sure your picture is correct. So remember, what's important here is to use value. So don't make your little sections here just a solid color. It shouldn't just look like that. It should go from dark to medium to light at the end. So that's what I'll be looking for, and I'll also be looking for that on your animal. So once again, just to show you what a finished one looks like, here we go with the jellyfish. And you can see they also have value. On this jellyfish, I used two different reds to create the value simply because of the shape it was. But you can see in the water that it goes from dark to light, or from light to dark. And that's what I want to see in your picture. Here's the otter again. One more time, you can see on its body that I have it going from dark to light, and then of course the water is the same thing. I look forward to seeing your sea creatures and your wonderful wavy water. That's all for today. Bye, artists.